So I honestly don't even know where to begin this week. So the 13 people at my work that were suspended, the 13 CPs, all of them got termed, from what I have heard. So because they terminated 13 of my fellow CPs, I'm being asked as a CP to take on more hours, take on less break days, less days off. And so I went from having like 6-hour shifts, 7, 8-hour shifts, with 2 days off every week, to now next week, I now have literally like 3 or 4 days in a row of 10-hour shifts every single day. And they got rid of one of my days off. I just don't have it in me to work these super long hours.
Basically told us that all the guys at the CP, all of the boys here, are either taken, gay, or F-boys. And I thought she was kidding. In the past 2 weeks, since I've had a chance to catch up with y'all, I did have my first official fling here.
I think it's safe to say for me that work it's gotten really miserable. I'll be honest. I'm at the halfway point and I have never had so many thoughts of quitting. The leaders held on to them for like 2 weeks and told them, hey, just stand by, we'll send you word. Meanwhile, they had to pay rent for Flamingo, for the residents for the apartments here, out of their pockets. Finally, 2 weeks later, which is basically like the week that most of them were leaving for their programs anyway, the leaders get back to them and say, hey, come in today, but bring this, this, and this. And so they're all like, oh, we're gonna get termed. So they went in, and sure enough, they all got termed. I feel like all the friends that I made at work left as quickly as they came. Like, the past 2 weeks, I did nothing basically but hang out with them. Like, we went out to the dance hall here. We went out downtown. Like, we went to different places. We had just hung out, like, at people's apartments. Like, we threw a surprise party for one of the guys for his birthday. Like, I just suddenly felt like especially because I was being invited in, like, I just felt like I had a family suddenly and work was fun. And then all of them being fired, they basically had less than 24 hours to move all of their stuff out of Flamingo and just get out. And it was hard today. I think I had a conversation with my parents. It's really hard continuing at work when I don't have that community anymore. And also knowing that CPs are just expendable like that, if that makes sense. It's extremely discouraging to know that there's really nobody that is on your side, and besides the other CPs. I mean, I guess I'm getting paid overtime, I guess, but honestly, like, money has never been a thing for me being here. Like, it's nice earning the money, but I am much more here for the experience, and I would rather not overwork myself, and I'd rather be able to just experience Disney and everything that the program has to offer, and including the classes and everything that they offer here at the community center, like, and including hanging out with friends and like having social time to be here on the apartment complex. So when I first got here, one of the people that had already been here since like March, February was joking, and she was like, well, you'll find out that all the guys at the CP, all of the boys here are either taken, gay, or F-boys. And I thought she was kidding, but in the past 2 weeks, since I've had a chance to catch up with y'all, I did have my first official fling here, and this wasn't like the one-time thing with a Subway guy where he just gave me his number and we texted a little. Like, this was a guy from the work group who we had a lot in common. He seemed really cool, and so, I asked him to hang out because, I was assuming that if there was anyone already in his life, he would have said something. But, I should have been upfront with him. Of course I should have. But anyway, so I had him over. We watched a movie, and, I think I just kept wondering, like, why did everything feel, like, thrilling and exciting and fine and good up until the moment that we kissed? And then I just couldn't get that out of my head. Like, why am I feeling so wrong about this? Like, is there something that, like, is off about the situation? But I'm like, why do I feel like just kind of crappy about it, And so I talked with my mentor here with the ministry, and she was trying to like give me some good advice. She was like, we were talking about false shame and how that kind of plays a role sometimes, especially with purity culture and me being, immersed in that growing up. And she was like, well, I think you can consider two questions in that respect. A, is it sinful? And if that's a no, then what the second question is it wise? And so I just kind of thought about that for a while. And of course, part of it also is just I just didn't know the situation. I didn't know all the information about what was going on. Sure enough, we went out again as a group. Just it was one of our final outings, kind of just to celebrate the fact that a lot of people's programs were ending. At the end, we were driving home, and the one girlfriend that kind of like initiated me into the group, like invited me and the newbies. I guess I had asked her a question because I had noticed that this guy had like gone over, like left the group periodically for like 15-minute intervals, and I was like, what was going on? Like, was he okay? She's like, oh yeah, the other girl that he was currently seeing or whatever had some kind of like fling with us there, and I was like, oh. And then she went on to tell me the entire story about how basically she's been upfront with this guy, like, hey, stop using girls like this. And he basically just saw nothing wrong with it and admitted to her, like, that if any girl in the work group was willing, he would be down. And it just kind of sucked hearing that. And I think I was really hurt and upset. And also just really ashamed and mad at myself. Like, why would I allow this to happen? You know, like, why would I allow myself to be used like that? And I just kept hearing my first serious relationship, like when we broke it off, he told me, like, promise me that you will never lower your standards, that you will never be with a guy who's going to be less than what you deserve. I thought I was past the emotions of this. And I kept hearing that, and I'm like, geez, well, I broke that promise. I think maybe thinking about that was what caused him to be in my dream the next night, because I just dreamed that he hugged me, just comforted me. So anyway, so that was my first official and probably last fling, I would say, at the DCP. Dare I speak too soon? But obviously I learned a lesson through that. Let that be a warning to you if you're thinking about coming to the DCP and you're kind of hoping to maybe you'll find somebody. Just, you know, take it with a grain of salt, I'd say. We've also had new trainees at work this week, so that's been kind of cool, like not being the newbie for once. I'm not sure if I'm going to include this in the vlog, but I think I'm going to be transferring. And honestly, that seems so exciting to me. And I think that's part of the reason why I realized that I don't think I want to extend at this point, because I'm really excited for this fall, and I really want to go back to school. I really do. Y'all, I miss school so bad. I miss being in really hard, rigorous classes. You may think that's insanity talking, but I really love school. I love being challenged, and I think it's been so hard not being among those like-minded people. So yeah, there's been a lot of changes this week, a lot. I've discovered things about myself, but I think that's what the DCP is for. So that's all for the vlog this week. I'll see y'all next week.
What did you say?